Luca Nation, welcome back to episode 733 of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. We're recording this a little bit early, so maybe we'll even get it up a little early with kind of, what are we here? Saturday, July 9th. We have 18 days till National, and we're talking about the PWCC weekly auctions, a little strategy. Should you be buying? Have inventory for National? Should you be selling? Have cash for National? Should you be looking at strategic buys like perhaps Baker Mayfield for National? What are your thoughts? What inventory are you bringing to National? How would you be attacking it if you were a dealer? And how would you be attacking it if you were a buyer?
Funny. I mean, the PWCC weekly auction does a very good job of telling you about the trends. I can't believe we've been doing this for 3 months. It's a full 3 months now. Done 12 or 13 episodes in. And what's funny is
and
if you click on,
I would agree with that. You're endearing. You grow on me more. And with each episode, I like you more.
So I'll tell you, your habits in the weekly auction have changed during those 3 months significantly. And when I say you can learn from it, whether you're buying, selling, or doing nothing, there is, as you've learned with your experience and whatnot, a lot to be learned from just the data that's out there if you look at it. Everything from what's selling, what's not selling, to what's being talked about in the chats. And I did a fun thing with the PWCC auction. What'd you say?
You had some fun with the PWCC weekly.
Yeah, so okay. In the sort functions, what I did was I clicked highest, sort by highest, and then power buyer, right? Okay. And we talk about this usually at the end, but the power buyer function is cards that are currently bid and there's a discrepancy between what the bid is on the card and what it's being appraised at by PWCC. So basically, bargain cards. Would it surprise you, and now think about these names, right? If you were to do what I just said, sort the highest price, but power buyer. So these are the high price cards, use it however you want, that are currently below appraisal value. You ready for these names?
Ready.
LeBron, Michael Jordan, Charizard, Tom Brady. See what it is? LeBron, Jordan, Brady, Charizard. Isn't that an interesting thing? Aren't those the guys that flew last year? Aren't those the guys that everybody was searching for last year? And now, all of a sudden, they seem to be the ones that are they're quote-unquote undervalued. I look at this and say everything's cyclical, and these are the GOATs, right? I mean, you don't get more GOATy than LeBron, Jordan, Brady, and Charizard if you want to throw them in there. Eventually, these are the ones that will probably cycle back into when the market does fix, when the market does correct, when the market starts moving back up. These are the cards that people will be looking for. And, there's a bunch of stories to be told here. If you look at the Jordan one, by comparison, now let's take it outside of power buyer, right? So that Jordan that we're looking at here now is the Michael Jordan 1986 Fleer basketball PSA 9, currently bid at $13,000, right? Plus buyer's premium. I know it's an auction, but if you were to click off power buyer, I want you to take a guess what the number one most expensive card, the highest bid card is. Before looking, who do you think it is?
Charles Barkley. No. Andre Iguodala.
It's Michael Jordan. So now take power buyer off, and the top bid card right now is Michael Jordan, but it's the Michael Jordan star rookie. So guys, what's there to learn here? We can have a conversation, but I don't actually want to get into using our episode time here of the discussion of star versus Fleer, because we've done it and everyone's done it, and the fact that it is what's being talked about this week is the exact reason why this card is sitting at $18,000. When the
FOMO drives the market. People are talking about it. People are worried they're going to miss out on the star becoming the next rookie. And now there's more demand for that one, and people aren't paying attention to the true rookie. Or how do you interpret it?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And I think more importantly, what's funny is the narrative-driven part of our hobby is we should all be looking for the things that are rare because they're rare, right? Scarce because they're scarce, right? Not things that are, we'll get to that card in a second. It's gorgeous.
I apologize.
It's okay. But let's move away from Jordan. Let's go right to Hank Aaron. You want to go to Hank Aaron?
No, I do think it's valuable to talk about the star versus the Fleer because you own that star card, right?
I did.
Are you willing to share how much you sold it for?
Sure, of course. It's not to to get too crazy, but yeah, I mean, I think the problem, of course, is this, right? When we talk about the star card, is everyone says buy rare, buy scarce, buy rare, buy cards that are rare, not rare because of the grade. All right. Well, this week that star card is being brought into focus, right? Nat Turner posted about ones that were graded even before the PSA was grading them. Somehow, I mean, you can figure out what this means. He posted pictures of recently graded star cards even before they started grading star cards. I guess it's sort of like Willy Wonka getting the chocolate before it gets released to the public. I don't know exactly how it works, but there were star cards published on Twitter, this Jordan card in a PSA slab that was recently slabbed before they actually started. Anyway, so this card is not rare. Let's just throw it right on the table, right? It's rarer than the 86 Fleer, sure, but it is not a rare card. And the proof is in the pudding there. Just open up Instagram today, open up Twitter, and everyone's posting one. Probstein's posting his. They're on eBay. Here it is in the weekly auction. There's probably one in every other auction, right? Because this is what happens. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. And right now, the rumor is, hey, we're good. They're going to be grading these things, and you're going to be able to get one that's a good grade. It's going to come back and look, find a nice one, find an 8, find an 8.5. It's going to come back, and you're going to have one of the rare PSA ones. I think when the news actually hits, what you're going to find out is that, if I'm being, as cynical and honest as I can, that a lot of the ones that are even slabbed are going to come back ungradable by PSA. I think a lot of the ones that were slabbed by BGS, think about it. Why was PSA not grading them? Because they couldn't tell which ones were authentic. The story behind this is that allegedly these were being printed again in the 90s. A whole nother run of them, allegedly. And then PSA wasn't grading them because I believe the technology wasn't there to tell the difference
between the old ones printed in 84 versus the ones in the 90s.
Correct.
I think it's important to remember Rare. We had Jem Raid on, and he wanted to create a universal pop report, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think there's 3 scarcity rarities. There's rare because there's like numbered, out of 10, out of 5.
Yep.
There's rare because there's just not a lot of this card ever printed, even though it's not numbered. And then there's rare based on how many cards this company has graded.
Right. That's the artificial scarcity, right?
Artificial, but it's very real to us.
Yep. Manufactured scarcity. Is that about right?
Yeah. Words have meaning. So like when you hear artificial, they're like, but like, yeah, the company controls, not the manufacturer, but the grading company controls the scarcity. You have a clean slate with this star. The company that's just started grading them has incentives to keep the scarcity of that card low, right?
Not to mention, if I'm holding it in a BGS slab, like my particular card that I sold, right? So that was an 8.5 with 9 centering, which none of these cards have, right? And you guys could take a look. You look right in the
cage or no?
No. These things came in bags. I mean, there are sheets of these that I guess you can cut it out of, but no, mine was, just a regular one. You name one of the nicer ones out there, and you can look. I sold it through PWCC, this year, and with BP it was 36. Okay, with BP 36, and now you're looking at an 8, which I think has 8 centering. Yep. And with BP, you're already sitting with a day left to bid. It's almost a 22, right? I mean, at 3,600, and it's 21.6. So
it's an interesting 8 too, Cade, because it has 7.5 corners, 8 centering, 9 edges, 8.5 surface. Yeah. Do with that math what you want. It's like the Beautiful Mind I'm picturing, like all those.
So where I was going with it is, like, if I own this 8 here, I'd be very hesitant to put it into a PSA slab. And you would think the person who's buying this week and probably paying a premium because this is the card in the news this week that everyone is showing, and in a month, no one will be talking about this again. They'll be talking about how PSA isn't grading as many of them, how difficult PSA is grading them, et cetera, et cetera. I think the person who buys this, I don't know if I would send that one to PSA with a 7.5 sub. I mean, this might be a PSA 6.5. Might
Right.
be, you know what I mean? Like this is, you know, if someone buys this thinking I'm going to get a PSA 8, I think they're going to be sorely mistaken on this one.
But you know what I think they're really chasing? And it has like the trickle down effect, monkey see, monkey do. But what really people are going to be going for is a PSA 10 in this card.
I don't think there is one.
There's not. But let's if we fast forward 12, 24 months, I think really that's the big thing with this card. Because if there becomes, you know, if a PSA 10 does launch, you do see it, it does get graded, that the narrative that comes with that is going to be incredible. That becomes a $300,000, $500,000 card based on
more.
Because it's more.
More. Oh, if there's really a 10, it's a 7-figure card. We talked about this years ago, how the 9.5s are ones that are worth mortgages. It's worth a couple $100,000. But here's the problem that I'd have with it. And I want to talk about the PWCC stuff. But the problem I'd have with it is chances are someone doesn't have one of these raw sitting somewhere that's in pristine 10 condition. We all know what's been graded. This card is nearly 40 years old. We all know what's out there. And we all know the 395s. I've seen the 395s. None of them are a 10. None of them are a PSA 10. So for a PSA 10 to come out, if I had AIH here, I'd be saying the word hanky-panky. If a 10 materializes out of thin air, I would say there would be shenanigans there.
But Gage,
yeah,
the centering standards on PSA are much different than other companies.
That's true.
So this
card, the corners on this card are usually the biggest issue.
Is it because it's very thin?
It's centering. It's a thinner paper stock. It's this weird reddish, pinkish red kind of color that you're gonna get some kind of little bit of whitening on. I mean, it's just. Take a look. ProScene did a very good job of this and had the pictures of the 395s that were out there.
I love when he blows them up jumbo side. That's how I know he's a boomer. Like my dad has that same thing too. You know, when you text him, his font is like size 44 for every text.
You blow it up for your eyes. Yeah. But it's good, right?
It's good. It's really good.
Anyway,
it's on brand.
I don't want to shit on it. I love both of these cards. Like I was the guy who was talking about the Star card as the better card to the Fleer before we even had a show. I remember going and talking about Jordans with Chris Hoge. I say Hoge, but it's Chris Hoge. And I think we did like a slab stocks thing, and we talked about different Jordans and inserts and the whole 9 yards. And I talked about that one. I owned that card. I owned that card before I owned the 86 Fleer. When I was looking to buy a Jordan, that was the one I wanted to buy. That said, things happen. Pendulums swing. And even the people who love the 86 Fleer will be honest and say that card swung too far early last year, right? It's not the rarest card in the world. There are 300 PSA 10s. It shouldn't have been $700,000. And there was only one. It was a weird kind of thing. It probably shouldn't have even been 500.
He's probably doing well, though. He was a crypto guy, right? So
right.
He bought the Jordan, and his Jordan's only down a third. His crypto would have been down to 10. That guy's a good trader.
Think about it that way.
I have a consulting meeting with him on how to trade next week.
So think about it that way, right? Not everybody thinks about it that way. We always think about our losses, but think about it that way. If he would have kept it in Bitcoin, he'd be down 80%. On his Jordan, he's only down 40. You know, but think about it, right? So that card has swung, and it's now out of favor, right? You talk about me being contrarian all the time, right? Like my take is the better buy here is the Jordan Fleer 9. At a significant discount to this Jordan Star BGS 8, which is not rare. It's not going to be one of the top, condition ones out there if it's moved over to a PSA mid-grade slab. But you got a Jordan 9, the 86 Fleer, which is that card is iconic, right? It's a cooler pose, a cooler picture. This one here, this Star one, while it is an earlier card of Michael Jordan, we've talked about this all the time. This is the industry trying to make fetch happen this week. And there are examples of this, by the way. If you scroll down in this auction on the power buyer side, or if you just type in Pele, one of the cooler cards in this auction is one that I've spoken about often. And I believe that it's a nice correlation between this Jordan discussion. What's the real rookie? What's the one you want to have? There's a 1958 Tupinamba Pele card. All right? Now, this was the card, Tupinamba, Tupinamba. You can just put in 58 Pele. And this one, it's a 2, but it is It's an amazing eye appeal card. It has, I believe, a designation. I'm looking at the card right now. I think it's a 30%. I think it's PWCC A, the eye appeal. This card, right there to the right. There you go. This card is cool looking, right? I would say you might think this is a cooler one than the Alifa Baloget, which is also 1958. When I started doing, this is a cool looking card, right? It's got great color. It's
like sealed in a little dime baggy cage.
Yeah, it's a cool card. It's got it's a clear picture of his face. It's not as blurry. It doesn't look like a postage stamp like the Alifa Baloget, which by the way, when I bought a Pele rookie, because I was buying Pele, this was the one to have. This Alifa Baloget. I couldn't afford this one. This Tupanamba. I bought the other one. I bought the postage stamp one. It was cheaper. But then all of a sudden, we had kind of like this one might not really be the rookie. And I think PSA started slabbing them. Instead of it saying 58, it was 58-59. I think, take a look at that slab again, if you have it still up in front of you. Even though it's listed as a 58, I'm pretty sure the PSA slabs say 58-59. And all of a sudden, the narrative kind of changed. And it was like, well, you want the Alifa Baloget one because that's a 58. Does it?
64.
Yeah, it does. So it's got it's got like 58, 59. See, it's got like a year range on it. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, maybe this one came after the other one. And all of a sudden, the pendulum swung towards that one. It's a weird kind of like thing that the hobby does where the narrative changes. The people who own the card talk a little more about these things. That Jordan Star.
It's not that weird, actually. Now that I've been in it for a few years, it's not that weird. I thought it was weird at first because I couldn't figure it out. It's just people with big accounts who talk about it. Like this one was Ravel was posting about Pele's card, and he had 2 million followers on Twitter, 2 million on Instagram. It was like what was the first one you had? I can't pronounce any of these.
The Alifa Baloget.
There was like a Twitter argument about which was this true Pele. So narratives change. I've mentioned this a few times. Our industry is so media driven because people don't know what to collect most of the time. We say collect what you love, but then someone tells you that that's not going to be worthwhile. And you're like, fuck, I'm collecting what I love. I'm going to be broke.
So let me ask you a question. Are we, the consumers, the exit liquidity? Because by the time someone's talking about a card and we're now looking to buy it, is it too late? Are we now buying the cards that they're selling? So is buying a star now
their exit liquidity, but like you could also learn to be a step ahead. Like you not to be contrarian, but like you could, all right, everyone's going after the star. Let me go after the Fleer. Everyone's going after the Fella Baloget. Let me go after the
Fella Chick-fil-A.
After the Tupanamba, because this stuff just turns. They're just moving money from one thing to another. So inevitably, in maybe 1 year, 3 years, 6 years, they're going to talk about, wait, no, dude, that postage stamp Pele? No way. It's this Tupanamba that's really sick.
You're all grown up and you're all grown up and you're all grown up. I love it. And you're right. It swings, guys. It just swings. For the longest time, we only had the 86 Flair Jordan in every single auction. What do you think is going to happen at the end of this year? We're going to have some high-grade 84 stars come out. And you're not going to see the 86 Jordans anymore. And then next year, all of a sudden, the 86 Jordan's going to come back. What happened last year? We had a ton of awesome LeBron cards. All of a sudden, LeBron's not the flavor of the week. But he will be again. So check out the 2012 Prism Silver LeBron in PSA 10. That card, do you remember what this card was selling for? You remember what this card was doing? Oh.
I know people love 2012. I can't figure out why 2012 is as iconic as people say, but yeah, people love this card for a lot of reasons. I don't remember. Was it 50,000?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. It was. Yeah. You couldn't.
PSA off-centered their label. I'm giving PSA a grade for their label. It's six. It's a 6 OC.
Your PSA has an OC designation on it. LeBron cards here. I mean, if you are a BGS person, there's a BGS 9.5 refractor, the rookie refractor, also at 13.5. Look at this card. I mean, when wasn't this card approaching or hitting 6 figures at one point last year? Mm-hmm. So
now it's sitting at the price the base was.
Well, yeah, the base of this, exactly. I mean, it's funny when we talk about that pendulum swinging. It swings too far in both directions. Should that card have been 6 figures? Probably not. Should it be now beat down to the price that the piece was at? Also probably not. So that's kind of like, it's another way to operate here.
It's a liquid market cards, but it's not the most efficient market. It's not stocks where you're going to know Apple sold for $95 and it sold for $94.99. There's going to be more. I mean, to me, this is more of an arbitrage time. Like people are talking about taking the star, cracking it, and sending it to PSA.
Yep.
Like that would be blasphemy, right? That's an expensive card. What if you damage that and crack? But we've been talking about in a down market, you can't make money on just buying and holding in the short term, so you'll have to flip. I would actually reverse it. I'm curious, if you buy lower grade LeBron, Jordan Fleers in a 7, 8, and 9, and you have the guts to crack a star, why not crack a PSA 7, 8, 9 Fleer and send that to a BGS or an SGC? I'm curious the arbitrage there.
I mean, good question. There was a BGS card that the audience loves when I go on mute because they know they're going to get some Andrewisms out of it.
Okay.
But this card is screaming
What
a
card?
5-minute talk from Andrew.
Is Ben Simmons in this?
No. It's your guy. It's gold. And it's going to allow you to talk about the argument of coding versus no coding. So do me a favor and pull up the 1996 finest gold Kobe. And I'm going to go on mute and talk.
1 second.
1996.
One second. I can't pull it up and start talking.
1996. So we got a gold Kobe rookie with the peel-off sticker still on it in BGS 8.5. 96 finest gold with coding, Kobe Bryant, BGS 8.5. It's the one that says airs, where he's kind of like, doing that reverse junk, but it looks like he's junking into heaven, which is an interesting card. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. I'll pull it up right now for people to see. Can I tell you something? I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. I don't understand the airs. Like where So Kobe has the finest. Not this one, his other finest. Then he has this version of it, and then he has the chrome.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's got chrome, definitely. He's got different versions of the finest. And as you've recently learned, this year of finest has gold, bronze, all those other ones. That the gold here is just a gold bordered card. It's not, that doesn't mean numbered. It doesn't mean out of 10 or out of 50.
That's the confusion on it. It's not a numbered gold, and we're so used to numbered gold.
Correct. So does this kind of get the benefit of the fact that it's gold, that everybody chases gold now, even though it's not a gold numbered card? Does this get any kind of bump for that?
430.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about it. Talk about the card. Talk about the coding versus non-coding and some of the stuff that you do on this. This card, by the way, was flashed into the auction, so it might not have as many of the eyeballs on it as people would normally see. And the subs for an 8.5 are really nice. It's got 2 8.5s, a 9 and a 9.5 sub. Right, it means the corners are really nice on this one. Just one of those weird cards.
I'm studying it before I speak. I want to. This has a lot going on. Well, first off, this isn't like you're saying. Can you pull the peel off and get a 10 surface? A 9 surface with the finest is not a terrible surface grade. That surface, when there's still a peel on, there's like dust sometimes gets under it.
Yep.
Sometimes just the peel, like the adhesive kind of comes off, and there's like a bubble. So a 9 surface with a peel is actually a very good grade. That was in the thousands, in like the $5,000 to $7,000 range in most grades for that card at P Kobe. Again, his tops paper of that year was getting to 10,000 on a PSA 10. So everything's come down, or maybe 7,000. That's an interesting buy, Cage. There's not a lot of these. I don't know how many, but there's not a ton. And I love this version. It kind of looks like he's playing ball in heaven.
Universal pop would be pretty nice. But this is one I thought you would find interesting.
I would appreciate. I would.
Because
can I take a step back real quick?
Sure.
So Cage went into Fleer versus Star, first Pele's true rookie or whatever. I'm gonna go a different route. If you guys remember, last week there were about 12,000 listings on PWCC. Now, if we go to this week, for whatever reason, there's only 8,000. Now that's a big difference, right? That's a sizable difference. I think that's one, people are pulling cards out of their vault to get them shipped home, right?
Mm-hmm.
For national.
Yep.
Or they're deciding, hey, I don't want to sell into this market. It's very, very low. So I think actually we're going to see a bump in prices after this weekly auction because people are still trying to buy inventory for national, but there's less sellers. So I think I would be more of a sniper like you are with that flash than going and getting 49 cards like I was doing the last few weeks because things are so cheap. That's something
I think
from a macro.
I think you're 100% right. I do. And I think also what you're seeing, because I actually have cards supposed to be delivered today from my PWCC vault. I think you're 100% right. That people are maybe grabbing some stuff to take to the national with them. People are, having some inventory to bring with them there. I think on the flip side, there's probably also some people who are selling some stuff for liquidity before the national, so they have some cash. That's what I'd be looking for. I think you're right. Not just on the the bargain. That Kobe's a perfect example, right? The Jordan Fleer. If you're a Jordan collector, right? If you're a Jordan collector, this auction might be one where you pull some 90s inserts that people are listing that they had in their vaults that you just don't see too often. And I'll give you a couple of examples, right? Can you just type the word meltdown, one word, meltdown in? And this is a card, I wonder if you've ever seen it before, because it has a pop in PSA 10 of 16 cards. It's the 1995 Skybox
We talked
Premium.
a little bit about inserts last week. I'm like, well, I said to Cage, I said, why are some inserts like thousands and thousands of dollars, but other inserts, which are also low pop, equally incredible photography, like pennies on the dollar? Like, who decided this insert was a better insert than this insert? Remember,
yeah, you're 100% right. And this one here, I don't know the answer other than that because of the foil, because of the card itself, it's very difficult to find.
Wow, this is a sick card.
Isn't that a cool card? Have you ever seen this card?
No. Ultra tough.
Yeah.
Jordan
Look at this card.
issue in the PSA
condition don't see it. And you definitely don't see it in this higher grade. Cool, real colorful rainbow back. The word meltdown, like you said, if you flip it over there, it's got some cool like mid-90s color to it. But this is just one of those black jersey. You don't see too many. I think Noisy Boys has a black jersey Jordan also. But you don't see too many, of his inserts with this look. It's just one of those cool cards that you don't see too often. Another one in 99. Yeah, look at that black jersey. You got another.
I'm gonna give this away on Whatnot at some point when I decide. But this is
Whatnot giveaway Jordan jersey.
It's too big, man. 52.
I'll wear it. Perfect size. 96 metal Jordan. If you wanted to put that one in, there's a Netrageous die cut. The top of it is kind of like a little cut, and the sides have like the little like wrinkles on it. Also, another one you just don't see in PSA 10. It's in an old slab. 96 metal Jordan PSA 10 Netrageous. That's in this. And even if you go, take your time.
Lynchpins is in this too.
There's a Lynchpins 9.5. I was going to talk about that one. That's a gorgeous card. You hold it up against the light, and it, the pins are die cut and it shine through, and it's just not at a crazy price. Some of these Jordans really ran last year. One of my favorites, early numbered Jordan, the 98 Hoops BAMS Jordan out of 250, numbered on the back. There's a BGS 7.5 sitting at 3,300. I mean, I saw a BGS 6.
This one is incredibly difficult. There's always surface issues, right? Like print lines with this one?
Which one? I can't see which one you're holding.
The Hoops BAM?
Yeah, the Hoops BAM, yeah. Yeah, it's a foil card. It's like an early foil card. You have surface and you have the edges. The edges are usually problematic. Usually a lot of whiting on the edges. Like I said, if you look at like the prior sales, I personally may have sold the 6 for like 3 times what this one's at right now.
Wow.
And this is a 7.5. Yeah, early numbered Jordan.
You know what I noticed? So, like, today we have NBA Hoops, right? It's a Panini brand. It's, like, the cheapest of the cheap, right? LaMelo. But NBA Hoops from the 90s, people really like it. I guess it's like that nostalgic brand that still exists today, but it's super short print back then.
Yeah.
There's some really cool 90s inserts, 90s cards that are NBA Hoops.
I want to get you talking about something. All right? I want to get you talking about something. There's one more Jordan card I want to talk about, and then I want to get you talking about one little thing. Flair Showcase Row Zero. Everybody loves this now. It's like shiny. It's cool stuff. There's a Jordan BGS 9 numbered out of 250. It's only at $2,300. So just another little Jordan insert. But here's the one I want you to pull
Can
up.
I talk about that real quick?
Yeah,
I've
sure.
been selling on Whatnot. There is no better card that sells on Whatnot than the Flair Showcases. It's a gorgeous card. It's
shiny.
We use the word shiny a lot. It's aesthetically pleasing. Shiny is like Prism, okay. But every year, the Prism's kind of been the same since it feels like 2018.
True.
Whereas the Flair, yes, it's shiny, but it's like you have this aesthetically pleasing base card of Legends. People love it. It's one of those cards that I think has a huge collector base, not in the thousands of dollars where whales play, but in like the lower to middle tier where it's kind of affordable.
Okay, so
yes,
I'll tell you what to look up. And when you pull it up, you're going to see them side to side. You'll probably pull them both up. But 1996 Skybox Big Men Jordan. Big Men, 2 words.
All right. A PSA 9 and a BGS 9.5 with a 10
Throw them up
centering.
there. Yeah, so that's what I want you to talk about. Right now, there's a PSA 9, which there's only 8 9s and 8 graded higher than that. It's at $1,825. And there's a BGS 9.5 with nice subgrades, a 10 centering, and that one is at $1,900. Basically the same price. Talk to me about that.
Which one would
if
I
you're
want?
a buyer of this card, which one do you buy and why?
I buy the PSA, and I'll tell you why. I think 10 centering on cards that really don't have a border is sort of stupid.
Okay.
And I think edges grades on
die cuts
is equally stupid. Because they always give it a good centering grade. I mean, die cuts are. It's not like they're going to print. They're going to cut it out and be like a 6.5 centering. They're going to do a good job on this one if it doesn't have a border. And the edges are always shit on die cuts. They're always 9s, but I've seen terrible edges on die cuts get high grades too. It's just a unique card. I would just want die cuts in a PSA slab. That's my opinion. I wouldn't overpay for a 9.5. Die cuts are interesting. Like what
about the same price?
Cage, how do you grade corners on a die cut? Where are even the corners?
You can't.
Corners and edges on a die cut.
That's why I brought this up. It's fun. It's a subgrades conversation, right? But the subgrades on this, it's not really. I mean, there are no corners. It's rounded.
Subgrades are good when you have an iconic like refractor base or numbered gold or whatever, and at a PSA you would get a 9 because the centering's way off. But the rest of the card is perfect. So you sub it BGS and you get a 9.5 with a 9 centering. Those are the ones where I would play that game. Like a good card that I remember is a 2004 Topps Chrome LeBron. The centering on that one is just absurdly difficult. They're all off center from that year for whatever reason. But a 9.5 was outselling a 9 by a lot. So it would be you're not getting a 10 with the centering you have. You're going BGS on that one. That's where I'm more interested in it.
All right. Is there anything in here you see that you wanted to talk about? Because I have 50 cards, but I don't want to blow up any of the cards that you're trying to target for yourself.
I'm kind of a whale in this game, so I was going to sit this week out and not gobble
all right.
under $50 ones.
So here's one of the things I'm looking at, guys, and I have an example of it.
I'm still going to snipe
So this is like what I consider a snipey kind of thing, right? So and I could be wrong, but let's play on the contrarian that you call me, which you're right to call me. We've talked about how National Treasures autos have become like the go-to for people, right? That RPA out of 99 rookie patch auto is the chase card, right? But that there are also other cards in that National Treasure set that are rookie patch autos, right? They are a rookie, they are a patch, they are an auto.
Like a Dennis Smith Jr.
Well, so go with me. The player doesn't matter so much, but I'll give you one here that's an example of this. And it's one that I'm looking at myself, and you guys listening and watching can now look at as well and determine whether or not the premium being paid for those, classic RPA out of 99 is worth what it's worth. And if it is, are some of those other cards from the set that are similar now becoming bargains? So I'll give you an example. Okay, Jordan Poole just had a nice playoff run, young player with a championship now, and a hell of a future in front of him. So much so that when the talk of Kevin Durant to the Warriors was there, almost universally people were like, they better not trade Jordan Poole. So basically, what people are saying is Jordan Poole's better than Kevin Durant. So think about that. I'm just kidding.
Transitive property on him.
Pull up the 2019 National Treasures Jordan Poole rookie patch auto. You can just write 2019 National Treasures Poole. It'll probably come up.
That's a sick card.
Right?
That's another sick card. I'm distracted. There's cards flashing in front of me. 2019 Jordan Poole with an E at the end.
Yep. National
Pele.
Treasures.
We're going to
Pele.
start calling him Pele from now on.
Jordan Pele. He's
The
French.
French star.
So did you find it?
Yes, Jordan Pele is right here. Oh, this
Okay.
green one. That's sick. Oh, you mean this?
Yes.
That's a really nice patch.
So a cool patch, that's obviously the word state in Golden State, right? It's the end of the word state. It is a National Treasures rookie patch auto out of 75. So
Not
rare,
auto.
scarce, 10 auto. It's a BGS 8. There are 7 higher than this graded in BGS. But I don't know how much his RPA at a 99, the true vertical, RPA is, but I guarantee it's thousands of dollars. And this one here is out of 75. Yes, it's horizontal, but his picture is vertical. It's horizontal, but it's the same set. It's a rookie patch auto numbered out of 75 from National Treasures, a product that is unapproachable, really, right? Like if you were buying a box of National Treasures 2019 basketball, what's it going to run you? $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a box? I don't even know what it's at, but it's definitely a lot because you got Zion, you got Ja, you got all these guys. And if you knew ahead of time you were going to be getting a Jordan Poole RPA out of the box, you're probably happy, right? And this card, this card is $360 right now. $360 for Jordan Poole National Treasures RPA. So I'm looking at stuff like this because this is not the one that everyone wants. And we kind of started this episode talking about what people want kind of changes from time to time. And the one that people want, I think, you and I have talked about this, the Jeremy Padawer rubber band effect, right? Well, if Poole continues to play the way people think he's going to play, especially the ones that are paying 10, 15, 20, whatever $1,000 for his, RPA out of 99, even if it's $5,000, whatever it is, right? If that card becomes the one that everyone wants, there's only 99 of those, the price goes up on that, right? The supply is not enough for the demand. Doesn't this one get pulled up also? Shouldn't this one be more than $360 for an RPA National Treasures of Jordan Poole? Anyway, it's just...
I go a different route. We would say buy what you love. This is an opportunity to not get caught up in horizontal versus vertical. If you're a hotshot who loves the Bay Area teams, for example, or someone who loves Jordan Poole, this isn't affordable. This might end under $1,000. It's $360 now.
Yeah,
you get it out of that clunky, ugly BGS white label slab. You get it in a PSA or SGC, which you love, and now you have you're one of your favorite young prospects that you get to enjoy for a long time on your favorite team. And,
yeah. So the thing is not the Poole.
I think you get the best patch. Okay, none of the patches are game worn, so you already know that you're not overpaying for it. You're not. Well, dude, when you're paying $100,000, you want a really nice vertical RPA and a high grade with a game use patch. Gotcha. But when you're paying under $1,000, you're bargain shopping. Now you check all the boxes, but you're not breaking the bank. So
I like this one for Poole. I'm not a huge Poole guy, but you're right. If there are other ones. This is if you're a Poole fan. I hope I'm not blowing up on it. You said you're not bargain shopping. You're whale shopping here. So one of the cards I want you to talk about is this one of the most well-known quitters in the sport. There's a 2003 Net Pro Rafael Nadal Pereira. I think that's his full name. I'm just kidding, but I'm just trying to get you going. There's a PSA 10 Net Pro Nadal.
So I brought you guys Nadal early this year, early, way before his record prices and all that stuff. But here's where I come back. Who is collecting tennis at the end of the day? There's like 46 people, a collector base of tennis cards? When you buy a card that's already run up of someone who's done just amazing things, you're buying at the top or right near the top. And how big is a collector base in tennis? Like that's my question. It's not that I don't love Nadal. I love Nadal. I like how he plays. I like gritty athletes. I like guys that overcome adversity. They say it's harder to stay at the top than be at the top. So he's done that a few times. So it's not anything against Nadal, but I'm curious when you have F1 and you have the World Cup coming up. It's the trimming of the fat. If you're holding tennis cards and the World Cup's coming up, you start kind of selling those so that you can maybe get a Messi card. So that's what I'm more worried about is, are you buying in at the top? Maybe you get a good deal because Nadal just got injured and you're able to, get a card that was 20,000 for 14.
So
Okay?
this particular card that I'm talking about, the 2003 Net Pro in PSA 10, do you want to take a guess what the bid is?
It's probably $300.
$47.
No.
Yeah.
That's not gonna end like that.
I'm just pointing out cards.
Net Pro Nadal PSA 10?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
$47. So I was trying to catch you, like buying at the top. If $47 is the top.
So guys, this is why PWCC I think is awesome. So let me show you. I just searched 2003 Nadal or 2003 Net Pro, and look what comes up.
Serena Williams.
Serena. So when you see what's this, 15 of this 2003 Serena Net Pro, just know that there's a lot of pop out there.
It's not rare. Nadal Pereira.
This is interesting, man. This isn't the glossy. I don't know, man. I'll tell you, all of these tennis cards feel undervalued, but then there's so many of them, and there's not a huge collector base.
But there's one Nadal just sitting there. One. There it is. How mad are you right now that I drew attention to that card?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm a guy. I should probably be more selfish. I like when our audience wins. I don't think I need to be the only one eating, and I'm not eating that much these days anyway. So, I think it's a great move. I would favor all of these and be more of a sniper. It reminds me of the comment or the advice I got, which was you make money on the entry. Watch all of them and maybe even have like a notepad saying like, this is the price. I'm not going to go above it. I think inevitably these will all end at different prices, but if you're able to snipe one or two at 60%, 70% based on where real comps are for it, and you're already in it good. So I would be more of a sniper. I think the Nadal one's probably the best. I think the Fed out of 2000 is an interesting look too. Fed might have one more run in him. Fed might have one more run.
You clicked on the Hank Aaron. There's a lot of great eye appeal vintage in this auction. That Hank Aaron, I owned an 8. This is a 6.5 that I think gives my 8 that I owned a run for its money. If you're looking for a Hank Aaron that has eye appeal, the Aaron 54 Topps rookie, if you're looking for one that has the eye appeal, that everybody's looking for in vintage and not just, I want to buy the grade, that's a really nice card.
I mean, Cage, centering, I'll pull it up for you guys. This was one of the first cards I pulled up. I didn't understand how it could have got a 6.5. I mean, obviously you can't tell surface that well, right? There could be, but beautiful color, almost perfect centering.
Yep.
And, I mean, this is a gorgeous copy. I see it along the edges here.
Yeah, little edge on the back. So the eye appeal doesn't take the back into account as much. That's where. So this is a perfect example of a card that was technically graded down by PSA, and I think the grade is probably right. But when you look at this card from the front, it has the eye appeal of a significantly better card. Same with the Pele that we mentioned. There's a really nice 54 Topps Jackie Robinson with the yellow background. That's a really nice one.
Jackie Robinson cards worry me a little bit because of how much they've run.
The main ones, sure. But like these, the 54 Topps, which is, a PSA 8, it's only sitting at 7,200. Like that card is really nice looking, with that pretty nice eye appeal. There's a 7 of your boy Johnny Unitas with an eye appeal designation, which is a really nice looking card. Also ending tomorrow. Just there's some real nice. Check out the eye appeal ones. If you're a hockey fan, there you go. There's Unitas right there. I mean, just a gorgeous 7.
1957, man. This is a really nice one. Really nicely centered.
Yeah.
That's a tough 7, man. That's a really nice 7. $3,100. Wow.
I mean, this is the IPL conversation. If you're a hockey fan, there's an 85 Opeachy Mario Lemieux rookie in PSA 9. That's nicer than almost every 10 that I've seen. And if you're one of these folks that is buying the card, not the holder, that's one to definitely take a look at. The 85. Look at how nice. Not that one.
Not this one.
No, I think that's an 8. We're looking at the 9.
But the 8 had a superior rating.
The 8's nice too, but this one I think is top 15%.
Yep.
For the 9. I mean, this is just a gorgeous card.
Is this his rookie year?
Yeah, that's it. That is the card for him.
I gotta tell you, man, I think hockey has more of an opportunity than they realize it's universally people think it's one of the most interesting sports to watch in the postseason. And there's nonstop action, nonstop action. I think hockey has an opportunity. I think so as well. They have a diehard fan base. That's where I'll go with it. Can I give one card that I think is just a really cool one, like an example of where eye appeal is going now, where you might get like a corner ding that doesn't stand out. Can you pull up 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle? Now you know what this card is. Obviously, it's not the rookie. It's the drawing one where he's kind of like looking over his shoulder, there's a 53 Topps PSA 1. But the eye appeal on this card, even though they only gave it a 30%, it's weird to get eye appeal on a 1. Take a look at the cards, right? So you can see the comparison. There's an eye appeal one, the one that's a 1725 right now. This is funny, guys. Look at them side by side too, right? You have the 1.5 right here, and then you have the 1 right next to it. Correct,
and the 1 is selling for more. This is a perfect example of what eye appeal does.
2x.
Pull up the 1.5 and take a look at it, and then pull up the 1 and take a look at it, and then if you cover the top and say which one of these would you rather have, you clearly would rather have the 1. Look, this has like stains on it.
This doesn't even make sense.
Now pull up the 1. It's like perfectly centered card. I mean, this card looks like, at first glance, looks like it could be a 4, a 5, but you can see it's got a bad soft left bottom corner with the red. This card is perfectly centered.
I'm cracking this out and sending this to BGS for the subgrades.
Well, BGS won't grade BVG. But I mean, this is one of those things. It's a phenomenon that's going on this year now. People are paying more attention to their vintage cards and what the look of them is. And this is I saw this just exactly the same way you did. And you look at it and you say, there is a 1 and a 1.5. The 1.5 is half the price of the 1. This is why eye appeal matters on vintage cards. Yeah. And there's a lot. Take a look. There's a lot of this in this particular auction. A lot of, the eye appeal stuff.
You know what I'm thinking?
Shoot, man.
I think we need to realize as a hobby that we are actually much more intelligent and smarter than some of the people talk about us in that sense. Like, people are not dumb. That shows me that the market understands.
And what's cool about it is the hobby learns from this, right? So the PWCC designation, they're able to put that on this card, and the owner of this card is likely going to get more for this card because now it's easily searchable. You can just pull up PWCC. That's how I found it. On the sort function, there's an eye appeal. It's SAE. You can click them all. I click them all, and you can just search the ones that have eye appeal. That's how I found this particular card. That PWCC eye appeal, which, they do that evaluation on every card in their vault, now gets this particular user more value for their card. But let's swing it in a different way. The data is getting better too. The card letter guys are now identifying eye appeal designations in their sales figures. Because if they didn't do something like that, when this sale ends, the 1.5 is going to sell for less than the 1. And the data is going to be weird. You'll look at what a 1.5 is worth as opposed to what a 1 is worth, and the numbers are kind of going to be like this. And they're now taking that into account. It's interesting stuff, how the hobby kind of learns as it goes. So
I love it. That's another episode. Well, I'm sure you got more cards, but we'll leave it up to these guys.
I can talk about there's so many cards.
Well, yeah, there really are. So maybe, we'll get this up a little bit earlier for you guys. Give you guys a little time to shop around. But I think we've already kind of beat this. What is it? Don't beat a dead horse. Like, there's so much you could do. There's so much you could do, from whether you're buying and you find deals or just getting a pulse on the market. Use the search function, like Cage said. You could filter on Power Buyer. You could filter on PWCC A, E, S. You could do so many things to kind of figure out and get a pulse of what's even going to be in demand at national, right?
Yep.
So that's another episode. We love you, Luca Nation. We'll be back tomorrow.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.